Benjamin Franklin once said, "The bitterness of poor quality remains long after the sweetness of low price is forgotten." The fact is, quality matters. Join us as we make quality fun, interesting, and accessible to companies of all levels. Quality Matters is a must-listen for all things quality. Listen in, ask questions, and get back to doing what matters most. Quality Matters, brought to you by Texas Quality Assurance, where quality management gets simplified.
Well, hello and welcome back to Quality Matters. I'm Kyle Chambers. We got Caleb Adcock here, and Caleb's got a lot more questions for me today, I hear. So we'll kind of go through that and see where it leads. I do want to say before we get going on this one that we've had a lot of, I guess, I don't know what's the word, a lot of listens, traction, shares on our podcast episode about API Q1 and the 10th edition and everything's happening there. And it's all live and you got to be 10th edition now. Whoops. So we're going to be doing an episode on that soon. That's not today's, but it's coming real soon.
So this is part 2 of overcoming quality hurdles. So, if you didn't listen to last week, or if you're, new to the show, we did a few questions to, I think, the theme was kind of like, okay, so I've been thrust into this quality role, or maybe your company is, just now starting to get a quality management system. So now you're like, now what?
Yeah.
Well, first thing is call us and we'll walk you through.
Absolutely. I've had 3 folks. It's weird. I've had 3 different companies in last week, maybe 10 days, contact us about API Q2.
Okay.
So I guess it's gaining a little more popularity.
Just kind of goes in waves, huh?
It does. It's kind of weird. It's like everyone gets the same idea at the same time.
Yeah, I've always thought that's interesting. Like, what causes that? I remember when I worked in a restaurant, it would just be a random day. And then you get this like crazy amount of people, and you're like, what just caused that? Like, this is a Tuesday night, we're never busy, and all of a sudden we got people like, I don't know, maybe it's people driving by and seeing cars in the parking lot, or who knows,
I don't know. Yeah, I was the same thing when I worked at Best Buy. It'd be like a Monday night.
Yeah,
it's dead. We're all expecting to have the store closed up. Man, we want to be out in there 5 minutes after close, but hour before close, here come 50 people. Like, what the heck? Yeah, and then we're all stuck there till 11:30 at night because someone, in case, not gonna. Whoops! Damn it! Don't want to break my microphone. There we go. Okay, I'm back.
Maybe someday in heaven we'll ask God, be like, "Hey, you remember?
Yeah, what happened?
What happened there? What?
Yeah, why'd they all show up that day?
Why'd everybody call about Q2 that week?
It'd be interesting to know, man.
Yeah,
but no, that's cool though. That's cool.
So, so we answered a few questions last week. We talked about management, management involvement, resources, lack of training. So this week we're gonna, and we mentioned that a lot of these overlap because they do.
They do.
They just do. It's, different ways of looking at stuff. But so the first hurdle for this week is going to be lack of employee engagement, and it may sound similar, to some of what we talked about last time, but, before it is management. But now, like, lack of employee engagement. And one of the things you're going to find is, whenever you're introducing this quality management thing, or you're starting to get the word out because everybody needs to know about it because you're going to get audited and the auditor is going to walk around and talk to people. People might not care. They may be like, oh, well, that's not my job. I drill holes over here, or, I run the grinder, I run the saw. Like, I don't care, Yeah.
And then you get the, yeah. I've had some fun employee interviews, and you get the random guy that sees this as his moment to shine and show how awesome he is. And he starts babbling about stuff that doesn't exist, that you don't do. And I'm like, I try to sneak around behind the auditor. I'm like, stop.
Actually, I've seen that. I see that quite a bit, or I did see that quite a bit. It's like people like to talk about themselves, and whenever somebody comes up, I mean, like you've mentioned several times, like, you go up to somebody and you just ask them a question, and you sit there and you let them talk. You let them talk. As an auditor, as a quality manager, you want these answers to be known in advance. And you want people to be well aware of what they're doing, what they should be doing.
Need to get it together. I promised folks last week. I'm promising you again. I'll put it at least in the comments on the YouTube video here. And I'll put a download on the website, but I'm going to get a template for the QHSE pamphlet out there for folks. It's not the most flashy thing in the world, but it's a good way to get some information out to your team. And again, I've seen it more than once where the auditor finally, he just gives in. He tells the guy, all right, pull that out. I know you're going to read it. Pull it out. Come on. I'll ask you questions. You pull it out.
Yeah.
I'd even put a Q&A on the backside of it. Hey, here's 10 questions that I'm pretty sure the auditor is going to ask you.
Yeah. So, I mean, I like, and that all feeds into, what we lovingly call the quality culture, the buzzwords and the $1 million phrase there.
But it's true. I mean, it really is. You do have a culture around quality. I think I talked last time about, I've seen before where the entire management and leadership staff is changed out. And you've got the same freaking problems and everyone's saying the same thing. And, we've got one customer we're dealing with right now, trying to get them on a little more of a repeatable way of doing things. So they had a quality manager in them and this kind of goes to the employee engagement side of it, is this can be a downfall to a quality manager who's really more of a quality tasker than a quality manager. And he had developed a lot of great reports, tons of KPIs, lots of good stuff, but it was so incredibly manual that no one could really replicate what he did. And even the way the logs are set up and the way everything's set up, it's almost as if he made it intentionally difficult for someone else to do the job.
So you're saying, don't make it too difficult where people's eyes are going to glaze over, or, even if they do care, they can't care because it's too complicated.
Yeah. Or you don't want it so that someone else can't step into that role.
Yeah.
Because, but you don't want to this is really the tough part with employee engagement, especially for small shops. I'm talking about less than 50 for sure, less than 100 employees.
Yeah.
You want to have that quality manager. You want to have the guy to handle everything. I totally get it. You've got all these NCRs and corrective actions from the last audit. You've got some customer complaints, training requirements, calibrations and maintenance. You really just want someone to look at everything and tell you what needs to be done. And so they assign someone as a quality manager. And let's face it, most folks aren't really all that adept at being the rock star quality manager, but a lot of folks could step into a good system and manage it and maintain it. And so what I see happen too often is you throw someone in there that's really not a rock star quality manager. You tell them to put all this stuff together and they do the best they can.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they do the best they can. They don't do the best for the team. They don't do the best for the company. They don't build a system. They build a series of tasks that they do day in and day out. Well, and it just sucks.
I was going to say, we could be talking to that person right now. A lot of times whenever we do these questions or we do these podcasts, I think about my own experience or the experience of somebody that's I just need help. I don't know what to do. This is all new to me. This is new to the company. So if you are that person developing this system as we speak, do you have any pointers on how to keep that broad and foundational? And I think the biggest point is to make it work for your company.
If let's say something as simple as this, if you've got a report that you need, say you want to show something like on-time delivery, or you want to show number of defects per orders. If you cannot show someone else with moderate computer technology, moderate understanding of your business, you can't show just a supervisor from any other department. If you can't show them in 5 minutes how to do it, you screwed up.
Yeah.
That's it. If you can't show them in 5 minutes how to do this aspect of your job, it's too complicated. And what happens is people begin to step back and step back and step back. Well, look, Kyle takes care of us.
Yeah.
Kyle gets the job done. We don't worry about nothing. We got Kyle. We're great. Well, what about when Kyle gets a better job?
Yeah.
You're screwed.
Yeah.
It's going to take you 6 months just to figure out where Kyle was. Now you're 6 months behind. You've got a year and a half, 2 years, and we've seen it so many times. You got a year and a half, 2 years before you back where you were the day Kyle left. That's not a quality management system. That's you hired a rock star.
Yeah. I think, going back to the lack of employee engagement, you could kill two birds with one stone, because part of that foundation of building that broad system, and the system that's simple, and the system that fits your company, is you have to know about your company in order to build that system. So as you're going around, and as you have to talk to people, you have to talk to everybody, purchasing, sales, production. Like, you have to understand, if you're going to be a quality manager, you have to understand everything. So as you're going around, you're playing that role, like, I'm just gathering information. We're building this system. That's your chance to tell them about what you're doing, how they can help. And then you get the ownership. And then you're also, building that culture with them as you're developing the system.
I mean, it is so much easier to say and to preach than to get through people's heads.
Yeah.
But honest to God, the 90% of the job of a quality manager or of a quality management system truly is to make everyone else's life easier.
Yeah.
Now, they'll fuss because they have to do stuff today to do it.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to have to do things differently. Oh, I don't want to do that. No, but your future self will love it. Right. So I think about, like, there's an episode of The Simpsons where Homer's like, future Homer won't like this, but that's his problem. Like, well, future you is a real person. Be nice to him.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good way to think about it. I haven't thought about that.
But look, this is one of the things that ISO got right. You go into the Annex A4 where they talk about risk-based thinking, but they were correct on this point, that the quality management system itself is a preventive tool. So the role of that management system is that you can turn competent people in and out of positions all day long with minimum delay, minimum wait. If you can't do that, you've failed.
Yeah. Okay. So lack of employee engagement, we touched upon a few things there. Employee input, definitely trying to create that culture or a culture of quality. And that all starts with motivation. And, creating ownership. And I'll be the first to admit, I'm not much of a motivator. Like, I'm the type of guy that's like, I'll tell you like it is.
Yeah.
I'll analyze it and stuff, but I don't know. But
I'm with you.
If you can create and have everybody understand what the system is, how it's going to help, and what opportunities it's going to create, and then let them allow you to shape and mold that system, then you will get some buy-in for that.
So here's probably the hardest part. Lord knows it's hard at home. So, like, if you're a parent, you got kids, some folks are better at this, more at it, but same type thing at work as well. Your leadership position either place, right?
Yeah.
But when you go and you want to tell the team about something new we're doing, you're not required to respond to everything they say.
Okay.
And you're not required to defend what you're doing or to explain why you're doing it. Now, there's a difference between, we're here to announce a new policy, blah, 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 will it be occurring? Is it good for the company? Right? We're doing this office space scene, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to do the office space scene, but at the same time, you don't want to treat every single employee that they are on par with you and your position in the company and your strategic direction for the company. Okay. You don't want that. You don't want them to be on par with you the same way you're not on par with them as a welder.
Yeah.
You're not going to go take their job welding. They're not going to come take your job doing what you're doing. So when they have feedback, it's okay to just look at them and just nod.
Yeah.
Okay. What else you got? Okay.
The kids call that staying in your lane, maybe, or something like
that. Yeah. I mean, it's perfectly okay to just listen.
Yeah.
I'm bad at it. But, we had an elder at the church he used to go to, and he's like, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them in that proportion.
Yeah. So the takeaway being, gather the input, but don't don't get too many, what are they, chefs in the kitchen, or, chiefs in the truck. Like, not everybody's gonna, you're gathering input. You're not
but
bringing on board members.
If someone had a suggestion, and let them have credit for it.
Yeah.
Totally let them have credit for it. Heck, even if you're already going to do it, but you've not announced yet, hey, that's a good thought. And you might be thinking, well, I'm about to tell you about that in 2 weeks from now, but hey, man, that's a real good thought.
Yeah.
And then in 2 weeks when you announce it, you're like, well, hey, that was my idea. Yeah, good job, buddy. But you can't have employee engagement without, guess what? Engaging your employees.
Yeah.
I mean, that don't mean pizza party. That don't mean get your CEO to walk out to the shop floor that ain't been out there in 6 months.
He's like,
that means
get
your own butt out there.
Your daughter's birthday was last week, like off a note card.
Yeah. I mean, and it doesn't mean that you need to look, people aren't stupid. Okay. Yeah. They can tell when you're doing the fake nice thing, you're doing the fake engaging. Oh, hey, how's your kid doing? Last time I heard was da 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 da. And that conversation was 4 months ago. Like, come on. Especially when you pull up a notepad before you go talk to the guy. Like, just talk to him. What's going on today, man?
You have the assistant whispering in your ear, like,
oh gosh, people aren't stupid. They know it's fake, and no one wants the fake bull crap.
Yeah. Well, next is KPIs. That's a big thing. I mean, that could get we could speed through it.
I will do this in 2 minutes.
Okay. All right. Let's
you time me. You cut me off if I ain't done in 2 minutes.
All right.
KPIs, key performance indicators. Stupid ass term. What it is, it's something you track.
Okay.
That's it. Something you track. KPI can be anything. With all of the spreadsheets and databases we have now, can be anything. So decide what metric matters to you and check it on a regular basis. Set an upper, set a lower limit on it. Just like if you were taking a measurement, you're doing an inspection, you got an upper tolerance, you got a lower tolerance. Your KPI is the same way. That's what we want to worry about. KPI is different from your quality objectives. Quality objectives, you probably have 3 or 4 typically. They're going to include things like on-time delivery, some measure of customer satisfaction. Our on-time delivery supports customer satisfaction. It's going to probably include something around your final inspections and final process, that final check and defects before it goes out the door. And then maybe one other that's kind of unique to your shop. Those are technically KPIs. They're just the most important KPIs. You got tons more KPIs below it. HR is going to have some. Your production team is going to have some. We're all going to have KPIs. If you've got TQA Cloud, you got tons, especially if you're on the SMB premium reports. So that's it. Don't get overboard with KPIs. I hate seeing chart after chart after chart. And like, what am I looking at?
Yeah.
Were we good? Yeah. Cool. Were we bad? How bad were we? That's all I need to know.
Well, you were a minute 30 there. So
cool.
One of the things you mentioned though that I haven't thought about lately is tolerances in your KPIs.
Yeah.
So, and what I think you meant by that, or kind of what I took away from that is, just because when you have your highs and your lows, like just because there is a high or just because there is a low, are you saying like set a tolerance? So for example, you're doing an inspection, something's not perfect, right? But it's within tolerance. Within tolerance just means that there's not going to be a reaction because of that.
Correct. Yep.
So is that what you're saying with your KPIs? Like, let's say you have a low, it's within tolerance.
Let's take on-time delivery, for instance. Okay. Let's say that our goal, you're going to set an ambitious goal. Our goal is 98% on-time delivery.
Okay.
Now, however you track on-time delivery, that's a different conversation we can have. Some people now have moved to calling it on-time shipment, on-time completion, because the logistics industry is still kind of a mess following COVID. So on-time delivery may not be the best term.
Count their stuff anymore. We're just if we shipped it, we're good.
Yeah. The date we shipped it, we're fine. If you want better shipment, you need to arrange a hot shot or something.
Gotcha.
That's fair. Any case, so we say our goal is 98%. Well, what if we're at 97%?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's close. I'm not going to worry about it. I mean, I get that logic. What if you're at 95%?
What if you only have 5 shipments and one late shipment caused you to go 20% down? That.
Yeah. Maybe it was a low month or whatever. But at what point, and this is the point I get at with tolerances, is at what point do you go raise the red flag? This is a problem. We must take action. And then you issue yourself a corrective preventive action report.
Okay.
You get a CAPA on it. You get a CAR on it. They're the same thing. At what point do you take action?
Well,
And
that's
let's be realistic. If we're hitting 100% on-time delivery, I won't lie, I'm going to look at that too. I'm going to investigate that because I don't think any company, generally speaking, works perfectly for very long. If we're hitting 100% every time and our goal's 98, I mean, I'm kind of looking at like 99.9, 99.8, I believe. But 100, I think someone's fudging the numbers.
Well, and in my experience, whenever you're saying like, do we take action, as maybe even as a VP or, depending on your company, like you might have to be that referee, because generally from my experience, quality wants to take action. Production doesn't want to take action.
Yeah.
Like,
and this is why you set those tolerances so that you can explain to the team, like, look, our goal's 98%. You hit 97. I might bring it to your attention, but I'm not going to require you to do anything else about it. And I'll tell you too, most problems are solved by awareness. Okay. You just let someone know there's an issue. For the most part, that solves problems. But let's say our threshold is 96% or 95.5. When we hit that 95.5, I'm sorry, guys, we've got to do root cause analysis and figure out why this happened. Yeah. This is now a 6-week long ordeal to figure this crap out, because we have said this is one of the most important indicators for our company. And if this is failing, that means 10 other small things have already failed that we didn't catch.
I like what you said about awareness takes care of most things, because let's say you do have that meeting, you've got quality, you've got production, you've got management, and then, the production guy's like, well, this is what just happened. We don't need to do anything. The quality guy's like, well, we need to, make 7 CAPAs, and we need, rewrite the quality manual. But
man, I got a sticker burn on my back. I'm sorry. I keep like,
you're fine. But I agree that just that awareness, because that production guy, and we're quality guys, we're unabashed, like that production guy is going to know that that's being tracked. And so he's going to subconsciously be like, okay, yeah, we let that one kind of go a little bit. So this next shipment, we're going to make sure, so that way I don't have the same meeting again.
Well, and if managed well, this goes along really well with employee engagement.
Yeah.
Because again, if we're in that little yellow territory, you're just telling your team about it. That's it.
Yeah.
You're just making them aware we're not where we want to be.
Yeah.
And I need you to kind of see what you can do to tighten the ship up a little bit. But we're getting close to where we're going to have to do something.
Yeah, that's good, having those tolerance and ranges, like the critical points and the warning points. And that's a good.
Well, we even had at one point, there was one customer where we did a year-over-year customer retention, and it was the same thing. If our customer retention rate was too high, they were actually upset about it. They wanted to do something. Because trying to think about the best way to word it. They were actively trying to provide higher quality, higher value, higher tech services.
Yeah.
And they knew that meant a handful of their customers were going to have to go. And so what they found out when their customer retention rate was too high is some of those sales guys were providing discounts to keep the old guys on board. And that was against what the company's strategic direction was.
Once you get your, find your niche, find your, you're like, who your customers are. And if you, you'll take any customer you can get, but eventually they may fall off, because, and if you don't have that fall off, something's going on.
Yeah.
Like,
we're kind of dealing with that ourselves right now. Like it used to be that we would provide some pretty significant discounts if you bundled your software and your fractional quality management program together, but we're not doing that no more. Yeah. Because we're trying to move towards selling more software. So if I want to move towards selling more software, why am I going to incentivize services more than I need to?
Yeah. And helping the customers who fit the product. Yeah.
Yes. Because
if your sales are over promising, or they're giving discounts, or that leads to overtime and money.
It's all sorts of stuff. So but you have to determine it for your own business, and then you're gonna. So many times, folks are like, "Well, Kyle, I need you to tell me what numbers are important to me," and they think I'm kind of blowing smoke when I'm like, "Look, I don't run your business. I can't tell you what's most important for these KPIs. You kind of got to figure it out for yourself." And I'm like, if you were sitting down with me having a beer, and you're talking about the business, and I'm not here in an auditor capacity, I'm not here in a quality capacity, what would you think is most important to your business? Jot that down.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's KPIs. Summary, set your KPIs. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't have too many. Have your tolerances, and put whatever, would be, if you're just having a beer with Kyle, what would be important to your business.
That works.
Okay. So next thing is Kyle's favorite auditors. Let's say that you're finally got it all set up. You've got your minimum, time frame. What is it? 6 months or whatever with ISO, or,
you got to have at least 4 or 6 months of records when that auditor shows up. If you don't, then let's say you've only issued 5, 6 NTRs in that time period. You're a small shop, don't have a high volume, and you screwed up on the documentation of 2 of them. Well, you shot yourself in the foot.
So you've got all your records, you've got all your documents, you've called us for an internal audit, and now it's time for the real deal, the external audit, and things don't go as expected. How do you overcome that hurdle? Okay.
Well, this is a really, really tough one. When I started out in this world, quality of auditors was fairly consistent. You had organizations like DECRA and NSF, especially NSF, that were really well known for tough auditors. NSF used to have a policy where they'd rotate your auditor every 3 years. That way you didn't build up too good of a relationship with that auditor. It's not the case anymore. It's a crapshoot what you get. You get a lot of guys who maybe quality managers that were, close to retirement age at COVID. And now they've become professional auditors, and they went through and did a couple of classes, and now they're an auditor. Auditing skills are bad. It's more of a, And then you got some of the others. You've got some of the younger generation coming in, and they feel like it's their job and their duty to change the world and to improve the world, and they're going to start it with your business. And that's really scary too. And then you got a handful of folks that are just really overly qualified engineers who went into auditing, and that's just not fun. It's just kind of a crapshoot, the external auditors you get these days. What you have to, I don't know, what you have to do is make them comfortable, but don't cross the line to where we're obviously buying an audit off of them.
Yeah.
I've been in both situations.
Like day 1 audit is hunting trip. Day 2.
Nearly. It's in case, but no, it's just really tough right now. I wish I had something better or more hopeful to say, but the quality of external auditors that's out there right now is highly, highly inconsistent. I'm hoping things kind of stabilize after a while. I have seen one of the auditing outfits, I won't say the name, that historically has always had poor quality auditors, and kind of everyone knew it. And that's why you choose them as a registrar, because you don't want a tough audit. Yeah. Well, they just got sold to a European country, and things are changing. So maybe stuff's going in a good direction, and 2 or 3 years from now, it'll be better. But it's hard. The best way to prepare for your external audit is to have a damn good internal audit. It really is. You want your internal audit to feel like a colonoscopy and an endoscopy at the same time. You really do. Because otherwise, when you go into that external audit, you don't know what they'll find.
Yeah.
But if you've done a thorough job on your internal audit, you can be prepared. Now, when it comes to that external audit, look, this is advice a lot of people don't want to take. But if that auditor's there for 8 hours and you don't really feel like you got audited, call your registrar and ask for someone better. You're not doing yourself any favors. You're really harming your company. And here's how you're harming your company. The obvious answer is, oh, well, you're just missing out on some opportunities for improvement. We could have done better. We couldn't tighten things up here, but we did the internal audit, and we're fine. We're fine. We're glad to get through the audit. We just need the shirt on the wall. Yeah. I don't disagree with that one bit. Truly, not a hint of disagreement there. That's not the problem you run into. The problem you run into is the folks on your team who have been consistently poorly performing, consistently not engaging with the system. They just got validated that they did good.
Yep.
That hurts your company. That destroys culture. That creates a horrible culture around quality. And
Well,
I'll have to end there.
and it sounds shady. It's not, but how many times as quality managers have we been like, well, I really hope this gets pulled up in the audit, or, I hope this is a finding, that way we finally get, the attention or the care that we need. That happens all the time with us as consultants, where it's like, they're like, well, how do we make this change? Like, it might just have to come up in an audit.
Yeah. And that's
it might have to be an auditor that says this is terrible, not just your quality manager.
As a consultant, that's something I hate to let happen.
Yeah.
But sometimes it really is the only way to get change made, because we can only do so much as a consultant. And this is folks to know, when you're finding a consultant, whether it's us or not, is your consultant, the best we can be is a noisy gong. And you know what happens to a noisy gong? You find a quieter bell.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what happens, right? So we can only be so much of a noisy gong to you. So sometimes the external audit, it just has to be a finding there. But I won't lie, when I was quality manager, I did that as well. I came up to the auditor a couple of times. I was like, look, we're not making no progress over here. You're going to find things, and I'm going to act really surprised.
Yeah.
I won't say no more than that, but I'm not going to fight you on this one. This battle you'll win. Give me a major.
One of the things that we need to talk about before we go with the bad audit result is, what are your opinions on representation, or just having somebody that's knowledgeable of the audit process? Like, I don't know, somebody that's to not stand up to a bad auditor, to be your shield against, maybe a bad auditor, or, cause you not. Like, what's
really, really helpful. It really is. I'm not saying you can't get through the audit without someone like us. You totally can.
Yeah.
But you get instances, like I was in an audit a week or so ago, and I'm pulling up the ISO 9000 vocabulary, and I'm explaining to the guy, you don't actually know what awareness is. And we're talking about what objective evidence is, and we're talking about what it isn't. And we're talking about documentation.
Yeah.
You know what? Sometimes it helps to have someone representing, I know it's representing customer in the audit. And, sometimes it helps to have that. It helps to have someone that's been through it before. Now, does that mean it needs to be your top level quality geek? No. You can get someone that's pretty good at negotiation, and that's a good skill for an audit, because it's a negotiation. When you've got a good auditor. For our fractional quality management clients, if you're on a fractional quality management program with us, you're utilizing the software, we do the internal audit for you, we'll represent you. And there's a difference in those audits when you've got a professional auditor representing your company. Now, with API, we can't do that. API doesn't allow that, not one little teeny bit. But if you're with ISO.
I mean, does API allow any sit-ins at all, or
no.
Okay.
No. Well, yeah, okay. You're not allowed to speak. Like, literally, shut your mouth. Don't
You can't be that guy that's like, I'll take care of this.
Yeah, that's what they don't want. They don't want that to happen.
They don't want a professional audit, or a professional auditee.
That, and I get it. I get it. All right, what else you got?
No, that's it. That was the last point. Audit doesn't go the way you anticipated. I think the key takeaway there is not every auditor is, good. So,
well, let me throw this out here. So at some point, it's almost like getting pulled over by the cops, right? So you get pulled over, know you weren't speeding, but he said you were speeding. Don't argue it with the officer. That's so freaking stupid.
Oops.
He's not going to change his mind.
Yeah.
He's already said you're speeding. He's got reason to think it.
Yeah.
You're not proving it differently. You got to go to court over it. It sucks. But you got to go to court over it.
All right.
I did it once. He said I was speeding in a school zone. No, I wasn't. Wasn't a school zone at that time. The light wasn't flashing, blah, blah, blah. I was fine. I didn't argue it with him. It was stupid. I went up to the court and I was like, look, here's what time it said. Yeah. The light wasn't flashing. I took a picture of it right after you left. I know it's 10 minutes later, but And he's like, yep, nope, you shouldn't have to take it dismissed. Okay, cool. If you get a finding that you just really totally disagree with, don't make it all nasty with your auditor.
Okay.
There's every certification body has a process where you can challenge the finding.
Okay.
So if that's the case, challenge the finding. But for the most part, take finding, take it on the chin, find a way to improve. Very rarely they have bullcrap findings. What happens is the audit, maybe we'll do an episode on how to deal with an auditor. That might be a good one.
Yeah.
What'll happen is the auditor will ask a question worded poorly or worded in a way that worked for another shop. And so you're not totally clear on what he's asking. And then he's not clear on what you actually said. And you may have been able to prove you were compliant.
Or maybe you're just new at this and you didn't understand and you gave the wrong answer when you it wasn't what they were looking for.
Yep.
I would say on top of that, well, would you say be liberal with your rebuttals in court and audit court, or do your due diligence, make sure that you're, absolutely in the right, and then file the
find the evidence of what you have already and submit it.
Don't just try it because you want to see if it'll get overturned. Don't be that.
That's
person.
Pretty much it. And by the time you've done that, even if they say no, it's still a finding because you didn't show that to them at the time, which has happened to me once. I'm like, okay, so I can just write a corrective action saying that we'll do these things and show you the evidence that I just gathered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your corrective action is having evidence available to
but just because your auditor, it makes me sick when folks are like, we had a no finding audit. I'm like, cool. Okay. No finding audit. Cool. I've never done a no finding audit before, but I've had no finding audits done on me.
Yeah.
But I'm not walking around all proud I had a no finding audit. That no finding audit meant that auditor had jet lag.
Yeah. Could be any
really
number.
Good at lunch and he fell asleep.
Yeah.
Do feed your auditors well, though. Don't please, for crying out loud, don't buy a tray of sandwiches. Don't. No sandwiches.
He said feed the auditors well.
Feed him. Feed the auditor. Trust me. Feed him well. I will say that. That's not a bribe. Just feed him well and don't feed him dadgum tray of sandwiches. We get that all the same time. Set him somewhere other than the conference room. When he's just sitting there alone in a conference room, staring down a long table, or in an EB teeny tiny closet, that sucks too. Yeah. Don't shut him in there. Hand a little hamster in a cage. In any case, we'll do another episode on how to treat your auditor. But don't buy the tray of sandwiches. I see that and I just want to vomit. I'm like, oh. I think I'll work through lunch, guys. I'm good.
Yeah. I think the first audit I went through was you did the working lunch, which is fine. If you've got if you got a lot to go through and all that, and your auditor only has so much time. But it was sandwiches, and I'm pretty sure. So, well, that's all I got question wise. If you guys have any questions, always comments, you might even get a whole show done over your question. You never know.
No, it's true. It's true. Hey, I will say something that is stupid and weird that keeps happening on YouTube. I looked this up. Apparently it's a new way that people are trying to get past the spam filters. So folks will leave comments on there with names on it. So if you've actually commented on one of our videos and you left someone's name trying to tag them that you want them to look at it, I did delete the comment and probably reporting it as spam because we've had 50 of them in the last few weeks where it's just names getting commented on there. But it's kind of sneaky because once they make that comment, now it got past the filters that they've got on comments on there. Then they'll go in months later and edit the comment and put links to dirty websites.
Yeah.
So comment anything but someone's name. I'm going to delete it.
That's their reminder, right? Whenever they tag someone, that's their reminder to come back and change it to their dirty website later.
Yep. I bet they've got some sort of a search filter or something they can go find all those names on. So anyways, let us know what you think about it. We we have fun doing this. So any other information you need, we want to try to get out there, help you out. I guess kind of the final closing point here that I always want to try to emphasize is if you're a small business, you don't necessarily have to have that full-time quality manager. And you can have the employee engagement. You can have the good audit. You can have all these things, but you have to have a good quality management system and not that full-time person. Getting that quality management system set up, that's what we're here for. We'd love to help you. So if you need some help getting that set up, from document control to reporting your nonconformities, keeping track of your suppliers and trainings, let us know. We're here to help. We want to talk to you. So otherwise, for the podcast, like, share, subscribe. We're happy to hear from you. Whoops.